gaming enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all well and I hope you're having a great day. Today we're on Project Sprout again, so I just need to get some things ready for the show season. First show I'll be doing is National Mini Cooper Day at Bewley. I think that is on the 13th of June. So yeah, only like a couple of weeks to go for me. So there's a couple of things I need to do. It needs to be MOT'd to the car run out of MOT. So I need to get it MOT'd. Should be absolutely fine. Nothing's really changed since the last MOT apart from the catalyst. So the catalyst broke up. So I've got a brand new catalytic converter from Mini Spares. Like I mentioned in a previous video, these are relatively cheap. I think it was £59. So not expensive at all. So we've got a new catalytic converter to go on. I've just got some stickers for the fuel pipes under the bonnet. I didn't really need them. It's just to kind of give it a bit of originality. So the original sort of part number stickers that go on the flexible fuel lines under the bonnet. I've got to put the radio back in because I had to have the radio out. I've done some Bluetooth head units for a couple of people, and I just need to check the wiring on mine. So yeah, radio back in. I also need to tighten up the battery terminals because I put all that boot kit in and remembered I'd left the battery terminals loose, so that's only a 5-minute job. And I also need to take the dash out quickly and just refit it because it's rattling about a bit, so just need to see if there's any adjustment on it. And then that's pretty much it. Give it a clean. I'm going to snow foam it just because even though no matter how much you cover them up, all being undercover, I've tried to make sure no dust and that gets on the cars, but it gets on there regardless. Doesn't matter how well you cover them up. So I'm going to snow foam it, try and do like a non-contact wash to begin with, just in case there aren't any contaminants on the paint. So let me stop waffling on and let's get into it. I find these ramps really useful. Obviously I don't have like a 4-poster or 2-poster lift. Most of the stuff on minis you can do without a lift, to be honest, as long as you're a bit flexible and don't mind getting up and down off the floor. But I find these quite useful. I think they're 40 quid from Halfords or something like that for a pair of them. But when you're doing stuff like this on the exhaust, you can just put one on either side and tilt the car over. I always put them, or when I remember, I put them opposite like that, so there's no risk of the car rolling backwards or forwards or anything like that, because they've got stops on each end. Now let's get this catalytic converter off. This should be really easy because I probably had it off less than 100 miles ago, and I would have copper slipped all the bolts to make sure they don't seize. So there we go, that was very easy. Like I say, copper slipped up all the bolts before. So there's the old catalyst. If you remember from a previous episode, that is just hollowed out now, so there's no catalyst monolith inside. That's because it broke up. So we've got the new one there. Obviously it should look like that. So there should be like a honeycomb monolith inside, which is the actual catalyst material. That's the bit that's coated with precious metals that makes them expensive, although mini ones are not that expensive, to be honest. And the catalytic converter as well is not a filter, so the gases just flow through, unlike a diesel particulate filter, which looks very similar when you look inside a DPF, but the channels are blocked off at either end. So it's not a clear sort of path all the way through, whereas a catalytic converter, the exhaust gases just flow straight through. Obviously, you do get a very slight restriction on the catalyst because you are restricting the exhaust flow, but it makes very, very little difference, to be honest. If you fit like a cat replacement pipe, you might get 1 or 2 extra brake horsepower, but it's not something you'd notice. So we've got a new gasket and new nuts and bolts. So let's get this stuck on. There we go. It's always a bit more of a struggle when you're laying on your back, but that's the catalyst on now. I've started it up. There's no air leaks or anything, and the exhaust doesn't knock. So that's good. On to the next job. Right, next job we're going to do, just a little one again, is we're going to try and stop the dash from rattling. So the dash just sort of rattles at the top. Now there are, I'll show you once the dash is off, but there's little clips that go in the top, and I think they just probably want adjusting because they're no longer sort of holding the dash tight. Now I've been asked a few times in the past how to remove the dash on an MPI, and I've done it in previous videos, but I'll just show again quickly where the mounting screws are. So you've got to take the radio out first, and then there's 2 7/16 nuts. The most difficult one to get to is the one on this side. So I don't know whether you can see that. It is right beside that yellow airbag cable there. Really tricky to get to, so you have to go up through here. In fact, if I go like that, it might be easier to see. Can you see where my light's hitting? Hopefully you can. And that, you undo that, and there's one the other side, but the other side's a lot easier to get to. Let me show you. So as you see on this side, there's nothing in the way. You can get to that really easily. It's the same on the other side, so it's just like a mirror image, but obviously there's more stuff in the way. So you undo both of them. You might also want to remove the air vents, which are easy to come out. They just screw on. And then the final nut is up inside where the radio goes. So it's that one at the back there. And correction, they are 10mm. They're metric. So just to confuse you on a classic Mini. Put these cables inside because we don't want them snagging up. And that should be our dash ready to come out. Now what you'll find is obviously there are cables on the back of the dashboard here. The most difficult one will probably be the speedo cable, so you might need to reach round and unplug the speedo cable because there's not much play in the cable to pull it out. And what you might have to find, each end where the brackets, the bolts or the nuts you've just taken off, you might have to lift up to get it out the bolt hole like that. Right, hopefully you can see this okay. It is a bit of a fiddle to get out. I definitely had to remove the speedo cable to get it out. And then once you get to this sort of point, you can then unplug the cables on the bottom of the speedo pod and slide it out. Right, so there we go. That's the dashboard out. Be quite careful with it not to scratch it. And the reverse side, so the 3 mountings we were looking at was a 10mm nut there, 10mm nut on the other side, 10mm nut which you access through the radio hole. Speedo cable is there, so like I say, that will restrict you taking the dash out. You can put your hand through the radio and unclip the speedo cable. A little bit tricky. And then obviously we've got our LED flashing warning light for the immobiliser system. We've got the clock connection. We've got the main dash multi-plug there. There'll be the plugs for the rev counter and the plugs for the headlamp dip switches or headlamp levelers. Obviously, depending if you've got an earlier Mini, might not have that. But I think I've seen the problem already. So I thought it was these, I thought it had more of these little serrated catches. So these sort of hold the dash in at the top, although I think that one does probably want moving a little bit, but these are all just, well, pretty much that one's gonna fall out. This one's all loose. This one's all loose. I'm sure I tightened them up last time and they vibrated loose again. So I don't know what I'll do this time. Maybe I'll tighten them up and then use some hot glue or something like that. Right, so it's quite easy to see the issue I've got here. Can you see those are the screw threads? They're all rusty, but the holes they go into, just nothing left of them anymore. I mean, every single screw on here was loose. I've gone round them all now and just tightened them up. but these outer ones, both sides, there's just nothing to screw into anymore. They've just corroded, and of course you've got metal going into wood, so depending on the humidity, wood expands and contracts. So no surprise, over the years that's got to the point where they've come loose. So what I'm actually going to do is mount this slightly to the side, use some new screws, and then I shall stick this in the vise and just bend it slightly to the right. It shouldn't get in the way of anything else, and then I think I'm just going to put hot glue over the top to stop them vibrating loose. Right, fingers crossed that's all right now. So we've put new screws in there, relocated it a little bit inwards. We've bent this bracket a little bit to the right now to compensate for moving it inwards. And then I've just hot glued over the top. So that should stop it vibrating, and it should stop the screws coming loose as well. I've done the same on the centre one and the same on this outer one here. This middle one with like the serrated clip on, all I've done with that is unscrew it, move it to the right, move it up a little bit. So now we just got to put the dash back in the car. Might be a bit of fiddling around getting the mounting screws back in, because they'll be slightly in a different place now. The other thing I've done as well, so the trim kept coming out on this edge, and if you look at the back, all the staples are just corroded away. So I've just gone along and restapled it all. Right, fingers crossed, that's it, and we should have a rattle-free dash now. It's much firmer. When I put the middle in, I actually heard it's that sort of serrated bracket was ratcheting like click, 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 click as it went in, which was far more positive than it was before. The actual brackets at the end didn't have too much trouble aligning them. As I say, they're quite long, so you can move them around quite a bit when you need to. Radio's back in now. I think we're just about it. I need to clean under the bonnet and stick those stickers on. So I needed a set of floor mats for Project Sprout. It didn't have any in. I just had some rubber mats in the front there, and I was going to, when I first sort of finished the car, I was going to buy some fancy sort of genuine Cooper floor mats from Minisport. They are quite expensive though. I think they're like 60-70 pounds for a set now, and I just wasn't sure how they look. So I was searching eBay the other night, and I saw a set of genuine new old stock floor mats. So these are a set of porcelain green floor mats. Now I'm not sure how they're going to look on the car. So this is how the car looks at the moment. And I was in really sort of two minds of whether I just get some black floor mats. I wasn't sure what the porcelain green ones would look like with a black floor. Obviously we'll see in a moment. So I bought these off eBay, or I watched them on eBay. They went for £40 plus delivery, so it's £45. Although the outer packaging looks a bit tatty for them, they hadn't been opened. So I think they're genuine new old stock. As you can see, they've still got all the fixings inside. They've not been touched, which is great. The original Mini Wings logos and everything like that, proper floor fixings. But I did notice a problem. So these were advertised as new, which they are. They're new old stock, but it said they were in great condition. But when you have a look, when I start looking at them, actually, all the foam backing has just disintegrated and come off. I mean, look at that. That's all in the actual carpet itself there. So that is a bit disappointing. I mean, let me know what you would do if you bought them on eBay. They're advertised as new. You know, I'm in the know enough to know that they're new, but probably 20 to 25 years old. So I didn't expect them to be perfect, but to be fair, there's no marks on them at all. It's just that the backing on them started falling to pieces. I don't think that's going to make a great deal of difference. It might affect how they grip on the floor. They do have some fixings for the driver's one just to make sure that it doesn't go into your pedals, but I think what I'll do, I need to clean these off. I need to vacuum off all this foam. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, I don't know whether you can see, it's just disintegrating. So it's like the foam backing, it's just had it, it's just old age. So they're new, but old age, that is new old stock. You take your chances, don't you? Initially when I saw them, I thought I'd message the seller and tell them I'm a little bit annoyed, but they weren't to know that. They were packaged up as new, so they've just deteriorated over the years. But what I'm going to do, I think, is get the hoover on them, hoover all that backing off, and I'll be back in a moment. We'll see what they look like then, and I think they'll be fine for the car. We'll see what they look like inside. So there we go, a bit of time cleaning up, getting the foam off the back. I mean, that might mean they're not quite as hard wearing as they would have been, but certainly the carpet material on the mat itself is still nice and bright. It hasn't faded or anything like that. Let's get them in the car now and see what it looks like. Right, they're in. Not quite sure if I like them or not. I think I'll keep these original. I mean, it's got the original mini fitting instructions there. Don't know about the coat hanger thing, but it's nice to see little details like that. I had the original floor mats out the rear, so they're still original ones on the rear. As you can see on an MPI Mini, it has a cutout on the offside floor mat, and it's shaped for the seats, whereas aftermarket ones aren't. This cutout is for the SRS unit, which sits on the floor, so normal floor mats don't quite fit in the Mini properly. The jury's out there. I'm not sure whether I like them or not. So obviously they were a genuine Mini accessory, so you know, it's keeping it all genuine and original. Just not sure on coloured floor mats. It's something in the past that I wouldn't have, not sure. I'm not sure. What do you think? If I had a choice of colour, I would have just got black ones. I don't know, they might grow on me. Right, a few more bits I thought I'd show you. So first off, I picked up a standard set of door handles and window winders from Bewley Mini Show. These are the later MPI type ones. They are slightly different. The door pulls are a slightly different shape. The reason I got them, it currently has alloy ones on them, and they're a little bit worn out, so they're not very shiny anymore. They shine up if you clean them up with auto sol or something like that, but this one's a bit bent. They just look a bit rough, and you know what, the metal, I've got long legs and long knees and that sort of thing, and I have to get this in perfectly the right position to make sure it doesn't bash against my knee when I'm driving. And these actually, I bashed my elbow on these. So I think I'm just going to go back to standard. They're a bit softer, and yeah, it's actually probably more difficult to get a set of standard door handles than it is to get a upgraded alloy set nowadays. So I've got those to fit. I also got a alternator cover, belt cover, because my one, like Kevin at Pocket Rocket Garage actually, his was broken down the bottom, so I saw one of there, then picked them up. Also picked up, I don't think I need a jack anyway. I think I've got 3 jacks now, but the jack come in an original Mini branded jack bag, which I just thought, I don't know whether that's going to clean up or not. Put it through the washing machine, see what it looks like, but I haven't got a jack bag like that, so I thought that'd be nice. And I thought I'd mention gear knobs as well. So I've got a few here. I can't find my original gear knob off Sprout. Let me just look in the cupboard. I don't quite know what I've done with the original, but it's all worn out anyway. So if you've been a viewer to the channel for a while, you'd have remembered at the IMM 2019 I bought this 60th anniversary alloy gear knob. That's been on the car, and I bought that kind of as a little bit of a, you know, it was finished in the 60th year, so I thought I'd get that. But again, I just want to go back to standard. Again, strangely enough, a standard gear knob feels really, really nice. These are okay actually, I do quite like these. So this is a gear knob I had done probably about 4 years ago now for my Sport 5. So as you can see, it's marked up 5-speed, lovely John Cooper piece that is. That's a really nice gear knob. But look at the difference in the colour. So I don't know whether you can see that well. So this is the beige, which is correct for the car. This is when I had it retrimmed. It's a very slightly different colour. So I had this gear knob. I bought this from a guy called Elliot Price. I've got to say actually, the quality of the stitching, the leather I think is the original leather used by Rover. It's certainly exactly the right colour, trimmed beautifully, smells really nice as well. It's got that new leather smell. Yeah, so Elliot is retro mini retrims, puts lots of adverts on Facebook and that, and he sells them on eBay as well, so I'm sure you're not hard to find them. And what you will find, there's other sellers that sell gear knobs on eBay and have them up there for 99 quid. Elliot has these for £70 plus postage, so it works out 74.55 or something like that. So it's not a bad price either, although when I had this one done, I think it only cost me 47 quid to get it retrimmed. Although I think Elliot does do retrimming as well for 60 quid, so there's not a great deal of difference, and you're getting it in the right colour leather. So let me get these door handles and that gear knob on, and let's see what that looks like. Right, I think that's probably it for this episode. As you can see, the engine is absolutely covered in dust. Like I say, it's really annoying because I go to loads of effort covering the cars up, but I suppose, yeah, even though there's, you know, probably an inch gap at the bottom of the car covers, that's enough for the dust to get underneath while it's parked up. Just annoying. It's like these abandoned cars and that you see sitting in multi-storey car parks. Even though they're undercover, they look like wrecks after a few years. So I need to wash under the bonnet and wash and probably clay the whole car, but it is absolutely beautiful out here at the moment. It is way too hot to be washing cars. TARDIS is looking pretty cool. Yeah, and I think I've done loads of work on the cars recently. I think I'm gonna chill out and have a beer in the garden, sit by the pond, and I'll do this another day when it's a bit cooler. I've stuck my stickers on. Don't ask me why I do things like this. People encourage me. Someone's gone to the effort to make the original stickers which go on the fuel pipes. And naughty me, I didn't check the part numbers before I fitted them. Ah, they're the same part number. No, they're not. That one's different. So, knowing me, I've probably got them the wrong way round. But I don't know why. I see things for sale like that and I think, why are you bothering? Really, why? I don't know. Attention to detail. Right, as I say, thanks for watching this week. Hope you enjoyed something different on Project Sprout. I hope this has been useful, especially sort of taking that dash out. If you've not done one before, it can be a little bit tricky. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, do all that nice stuff, and see you again soon.